you drive somewhere, you find your level parking ground, you level off the truck, and then it's the next 15, 20 minutes setting up camp, which is the exact same thing if I drive my vehicle in, park it wherever I want.
I've got to find the level spot for my tent,
open up
which
the
is
back,
easier.
Dump everything on the ground, and assemble everything. Like, it's the exact same process.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, The Dirt Drive. I don't know if that's true or not, but at least you listen. So shout out to you, my listener.
If you're listening, it's got to be on your list of favorites.
Top, yeah, hopefully.
I would think so.
As Tom's phone vibrates. I'm here with Tom again this week.
What's up?
Yeah, Tom's right here.
Just, being appreciative and, thanks for listening, everybody. If you guys don't already, make sure you follow the podcast wherever you listen, Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere else that we're on. YouTube. Yeah.
Are we doing?
Definitely.
Do we like the background enough yet to do videos, or am I still just practicing?
No, I think we're gonna be there soon. I mean, I don't know when this one's scheduled to come out, but
this is like 55,
something like that. Yeah, I mean, definitely. If you guys don't listen on YouTube, check out the YouTube page. We are definitely going to start doing more content.
Yeah, Tom's got a fancy lapel mic now where when he's working on his Jeep, he can talk.
Yeah,
people can hear him.
We're gonna finally start putting some images to our famous, or I guess increasingly infamous, ship boxes that are always broken. Mine.
Oh, that you meant us, like our faces.
No, nobody cares about us. I think everyone. It's more the Jeeps that I think people are interested in seeing. I hope so. I mean,
we're not much to look at.
Yeah.
Faces for radio, if you will.
Definitely faces for radio. Thank God for YouTube. But yeah, no, it's got a video in the works for kind of project updates and keeping more updates on projects there.
So surprisingly for us, video is a lot harder than audio.
Yeah.
It's easier to talk into a mic looking at each other than talking to a camera, talking to no one.
Yeah.
Because we know you're there in the end, but when we're recording, you're not there.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, subscribe to the YouTube if you're not already. Definitely some fun stuff coming there. The podcast, we are actually building out the studio. We've always joked it's just live from my basement, but the basement is becoming a legit studio.
Yeah, shout out to actually I got the idea for the sound stuff from the Never Inside Theory, Luke and Pound Sign.
Yeah.
Because when we talked with them, they had the purple and black.
So is that their studio, or were they like renting
that's
a studio
his basement
space?
or something?
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm jealous now.
Yeah.
Because I know like rentable podcast studio space exists. So I kind of
there's some in Sterling.
Yeah, it's expensive though.
It's very expensive,
which is why it's cheaper to build my basement into a legit studio.
Exactly.
Finally. So yeah. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube.
We will have video hopefully soon.
Yeah. If you guys again haven't already, leave us some nice reviews or bad reviews wherever you listen. So
send us questions.
Yeah.
We're going to try and do questions. I've got one question this episode.
Yeah.
Which might be a long one for Tom, but it's more of a Tom question.
Oh boy. Yeah. We definitely want to try and interact with you guys as much as we can. You can contact us through the website, DirtNerdsOffroad.com. Check out the merch there. Buy the merch. We got some designs in the works: stickers, t-shirts, hats, coffee mugs. If you guys have any things you'd like to see on there, reach out.
Any stupid shit that we've said over the last 55 episodes, you're like, this is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, we have a long list of things that we need to execute on. And if you happen to be good at executing any of these ideas, whether it's monetary donations or skill set donations, we're open to both.
Yeah.
So
just humble men in a basement.
Yeah.
That sounds like a weird porn. On that note,
I think I clicked through that one the other day.
Wow. Alrighty.
On that bombshell. Thanks for tuning in this week, everybody.
Right. This week is a kind of an interesting one. I've got my list of ideas. I had one planned, but we don't have the infrastructure and the people for it. So we're going to go through on how to pick a campsite with the wheeling season. Oh shit! Hiccups.
It's been a long day.
With the wheeling season coming up and the overlanding season and just the general camping season, a big thing that honestly we struggled with when we first got into the sport, the activity, whatever you want to call it, we had a horrible campsite.
Oh God!
Our first campsite was miserable.
Yeah.
It was a good location, but when it rained, it turned into a stream.
Yeah.
And I forgot about that until we talked to Alex like last week.
I feel like though, I mean, I know that's not like specific to the Cove, but I think that site anywhere else
would be awesome.
I think the puddle issue was more so the maintenance aspect and the structure of the park than it was how the site was laid out. I mean, most of the spots at the Cove
are pretty awesome.
Are pretty great spots. I mean, which makes sense because they're designed to be campsites.
What screwed us then was weather. Yeah. And we didn't account for weather when we set up camp.
Correct.
We set up, I mean, in what was like a miniature valley. We found the flat spot in a miniature valley.
Yeah.
So all the water funneled into our campsite.
I mean,
we've learned since then.
The other factor there was that was a really wet summer. That was the year that I think Virginia broke.
That was 19.
I thought it was 18.
18 or 19.
It was either 18 or 19. It was there was a year where Virginia broke its record for historic rainfall.
Yeah.
Because that was also the same year my basement flooded twice and I had a bunch of land work done at the house because of low-lying areas that we didn't know existed that just became standing water problems. There was a ton of water issues.
Yeah.
So I think that campsite was washed out to begin with. And then that trip specifically, it rained endlessly for the whole 3 days to the point where we were racing beer cans through the campsite.
Yeah. I think the last time it rained that much was the night, the time we went with Habib and we're like, it's raining too much. We're going back to Tim's house. It's the closest house. We're going to keep drinking beer and hanging out there.
Yep.
But this is too bad.
Yeah.
So I think the first step when you're planning a trip is figuring out how many people you have coming so you know how big of a site to look for. And I think the first site we were at was awesome. It was a really good site for the number of people, for the location. It was really widespread. We spread, it was probably, I don't know, a football field we were spread across.
Not even
half a football field, maybe.
Yeah,
but it was a big spot that we were across.
Yeah, I mean,
enough for 4 trailers.
I was gonna say again, being the Cove and being designated camp areas, they're pretty well cleared, and we were always fortunate because one of the reasons we loved picking it was there was an area next to it that we could park everything.
Correct.
We didn't have to take up campsite space to park the rigs. And I mean, that's always a nice benefit of whatnot. I mean, as we get into overlanding where the rigs are also the
camping
and the camping,
not so much because I'm dedicated, at least as of right now, when we have big dogs, to ground tents.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not with the camper.
Oh yeah, you've got your camper, but I'm still pro ground tent.
Sure.
I can't get two 6, as my wife says, 60-pound dogs. They're not 60 pounds. 75, 80 pound
Odin's
dogs.
leg is 60 pounds.
Yeah, he's a thick, beefy boy. One beefy boy. Yeah, I'm not lifting dogs into a rooftop tent to have them squirm around and break a bolt and then the rooftop tent fall off the Jeep.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I am definitely a pro ground tent person, especially if you're planning on staying at your campsite for a while.
Yeah. Which is a downside for overland because you don't. But with what we saw is we can set up two skilled campers can set up a ground tent at the same time. Someone can set up a rooftop tent.
Well, and this is why I argue, it's great. Yes, your tent can be deployed and ready to sleep in quicker than I can set up a ground tent. But that's not the only step.
I feel like it's so backwards calling it a ground tent because that is a tent. It is a tent.
Yeah, but we're talking about overlanding, so we have to differentiate.
Correct. Ground tent, rooftop tent. It just feels wrong.
I agree with you. But that's not... Opening the tent is not the only step, right? You got to level the vehicle first. And unless you're going 4-corner air suspension or you're driving a Rivian with 4-corner air suspension...
It takes a while.
And you're going to... you got to stack your max tracks. You got to get rocks. You got to
logs. Anything.
You got to find the perfect.
We
had to level my truck in your driveway.
4x4s,
right? Just for me to camp in your front yard the other day. There's a process there, and in that process, While Sean was doing that, you and I had already assembled all the poles.
The Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
My tent that's like
the 2-bedroom tent.
It's 15 by 7.
Yeah.
What is it? What is the math on that? 15 by 7. I can't do math that quick. Hold on. It's a lot of square feet.
5, 3, 80, 85 square feet.
Hold on. 15 times 7. 105 square feet. My tent is 105 square feet.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 7, not 5.
Yeah. Quick maths.
Yeah, I was close.
Yeah.
I carried the 3. I just added it to 5 instead of 7.
I don't do long math.
So, like, because the other factor with that, right? Like, we were just talking about moving campsites. So, yeah, your tent's connected to your vehicle. But then after Sean was done setting up the tent and leveling the Jeep, he wasn't done. Then we pulled out the awning, open up the back, get the 2 scottles out, get the chairs out, set up the rope lights on the awning, plug those in. Like, it's not like overlanding is you just go pop the tent, fall asleep, wake up, close it.
You definitely could.
You could. I'm not saying that people don't necessarily do that, but that's not what it's become, right? There's these slide out kitchens. There's cooking. They're like your entire vehicle. It's a transformer style setup where you drive somewhere, you find your level parking ground, you level off the truck, and then it's the next 15, 20 minutes setting up camp, which is the exact same thing if I drive my vehicle in, park it wherever I want.
I've got to find the level spot for my tent,
open up
which
the
is
back,
easier.
Dump everything on the ground, and assemble everything. Like, it's the exact same process. The only benefit is
it's easier to pack up at the end of the day.
It looks better on Instagram.
I would say it's a little easier to pack up at the end of the day, maybe.
And it looks better.
You don't have to worry about it being dry, because you can pack a rooftop tent wet if you're going to open it again the next day.
But again, to that same point, it has the same downfall. You got to open it the next day to dry it out.
But you also don't have to worry about putting your rainfly on, because the rainfly is built into the rooftop tent. I will give it that too.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about the inside of it getting wet. I see the positives and negatives of both.
Yeah, I think the rooftop tents are higher quality tents than our Coleman.
For $4,000.
It better be. Yeah.
It better be. Which, from the guys we've talked to at SEMA, they're not.
Right. Well, and
a lot of them aren't.
A lot of them aren't. But I think that's always going to be the trade-off, right? Like, the other argument's going to be cargo space. If you carry your ground tent, you're losing cargo space for other gear. But
cargo no-go space, cargo road.
Right. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we found with the 2-door is that's why we're calling it micro overlanding, because we have to figure out how to manage the cargo space, which is with also
like we talked about with our friends at Big Boy EDC. Like, it's all about the P's of preparedness. You just got to plan and know what you have and know how to use what you have and only bring what you need.
Yeah, exactly.
I think overlanding has become
the kitchen sink.
It has an exercise in excessivity. Is that a word?
Excessiveness? Excessivity? I think it's excessiveness.
Excessiveness. I think I just tried to make up a word.
It's not overbuilt, it's overlanding.
Yeah. Which is over, like, it's whatever you can fit. Like, how much crap can I fit?
So much of the Instagram overlanding is overbuilt.
Oh, yeah.
It's like for the trails you're doing, you don't need a Hemi. You don't need tons.
Yeah.
You need a stock Jeep with a decent setup and maybe lockers at most.
Yeah. And for your weekend overland trip on fire roads, you don't need the 105 quart Dometic fridge freezer with the Wi-Fi controller. You don't need 1,000-watt solar panel. You don't need, 100-foot recovery ropes. You don't
$6,000 rooftop tent.
Right. Like, you can get away with a ground tent and a camp stove. Or if you really want to, like, if you're on the East Coast and you don't have to worry about fire, just start a campfire.
Yeah.
And bring yourself some cast iron. Right? Then you don't even need to carry propane with you.
Fair. Yeah. You just need a fire starter. You need your Bic lighter.
Yeah. Yeah. Your Bic lighter and some dryer lint.
Yeah. That was such a good piece
great
of advice.
So yeah, I think we're getting a little off topic on the campsite.
The campsite, yeah, it's fine.
But like in general, a level campsite is
the most important thing,
regardless of what you're camping in. Because like even your ground tent, you want to be on relatively flat level.
Clear the sticks.
Yeah.
No roots.
Rocks.
Flat ground.
Or just get a cot.
The cot changed the world. I think that was my idea too. I don't know where I saw the cot. I might have seen it somewhere else at the site. Yeah. But I'm like, I'm buying a cot, and then I showed you guys, and you guys showed up the next trip
with cots.
Everyone had cots.
Yeah, game changer.
Yeah, between that and then you remember Ben had the inflatable queen size mattress that he had in his 2-man tent, and you could see
bursting out the side of it
against the walls.
So good.
Oh, I love that. Compared to what I started with was the backpacking inflatable where you had to blow into it, and it was like half an inch thick.
I'm bougie. I used to put that on my cot.
Oh, that's nice.
Excellent work.
But now you're extra bougie because you got the skinny guy.
Yeah. Thanks to connections, but I think the all of the luxuries aside, to me, I would take an unlevel rocky campground if it had phenomenal views.
Oh yeah. Well, my favorite campground we've ever been at is where we recorded that podcast with Terra Overland.
Oh, yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah. I would camp there for days.
I'll go. You want to go back? Let's go.
All right. Episode's over.
Memorial Day. So Memorial Day weekend, we got the thing at Alex's house.
True.
That's Sunday. Are you guys taking Monday off?
Yeah.
Let's go Sunday night.
I got to get a lift kit for my truck.
You don't have to get a lift kit for your truck. That is right off of that overlook.
No, I did. Because I got an awning to go on the side of it, and if I don't lift the truck, I'm going to hit my head on the awning.
You're an idiot. Let's just go back that Sunday. Let's plan a trip.
All right, no, that's done.
We can post the coordinates if you guys want to join us in Virginia.
Oh, that could be fun.
It's a small campsite. Mackenzie's already down.
Did you mark that?
I did mark it. Yeah, I've got it marked on Gaia. When we came back from our honeymoon, we drove right past. I took Mackenzie. I'm like, it's only an extra like 45 minutes down this fire road. It was actually like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
that's all right. Who cares? But
it's a quick 45 minutes.
I marked it again on Gaia. It is 6 o'clock. All right.
This week, we'd like to thank our partner over at Rocktrix Wheels. Rocktrix has been independently manufacturing parts and accessories for the off-road industry for well over 10 years. Rocktrix offers the best, high-quality, high-strength aluminum wheels for all your off-road needs. You can use Dirt Drive, that's Dirt Drive, for 5% off your entire order on the website. You can find their website linked in today's show notes. Thank you, Rocktrix, for supporting today's show, and thanks to all of our listeners for supporting companies that support us.
Joints no longer functioning like they used to? Struggling to perform even in the lightest of loads? Do you fall short of expectations? You may be suffering from DD, Driveshaft dysfunction. Call Adams Driveshaft to get your shaft fixed up right and back in the game, the off-road game. Their high-quality shafts and attention to detail is second to none. That's if you want a Woody. Call Adams or go online to use your discount code DIRTDRIVE for 15% off your order.
So, to that point though, like you said, marking it on Gaia, like what we learned from Sean, if the road isn't blocked and it has a fire ring built in it, it is legal dispersed camping in any national forest.
Yep.
So like you can't camp anywhere. You have to camp in specific dispersed campsites in the forest.
I thought he said you could camp anywhere
as long as it had a fire ring.
Okay.
Well, you can't just pull off on the side of the road and like cut down some trees and pull out the old Milwaukee weed whacker and make a campsite. I mean, you probably could get away with it, but
yeah, who's tracking you? There's not going to be a shield isn't coming up with their
yeah. So like using an app like Gaia or Onyx Off Road is great because you can mark those spots as you're driving. So like maybe you're not at your destination, but you find a killer campsite and you want to go back to it that night.
Yep.
Like that's a great way to track them. Or if you want to go back to it after you've been there once or twice.
Well, another benefit of using at least Gaia, because I haven't messed with. I've heard that Onyx has gotten better.
They just released their route builder,
yeah,
which is basically turns it into.
Do they have top up by 10 feet and increments like Gaia does?
That's probably in a premium setting that I don't use.
Yeah, I haven't experienced it. I haven't gone through it yet. I pay for Gaia, and Gaia has top up by 10 feet.
Right.
So you can find, like, if you're doing your pre-planned trip, you can find this looks like a good spot.
Is this campsite going to be 20 feet in elevation?
Yeah, so like that way you can see where your campsite is, because you can track if you know how to read a topographic map.
Yeah,
you can see the distance between your topographic lines and see this looks like a relatively flat spot because there's not crazy elevation changes.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely another episode as well. But
yeah, I don't know. I've got mapping as another episode idea. That's another Sean episode,
Yeah.
like comms, because
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just straight
we
up
could just put a microphone in front of Sean and be like, "Hey, tell us about GMRS," and just walk away.
Yeah.
Just walk away with it recording.
We'll get the rugged guys and we'll get the Onyx guys.
Yeah.
If you got connections, let us know. We'd love to talk to them.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. Another call to action. Tell us, what do you guys look for in campsites?
Yeah. We have our basic regulations, which is flat, dry, places like fire pit. If there's like if we're in a national forest and we've got stuff that we don't want to keep in our Jeep, or like we've got trash, places with high enough limbs to hang our trash from so we don't attract wildlife, which is another big thing that people don't think about. Like when we were out with Sean,
Yeah.
well, he was like, "Oh yeah, we don't have to hang our trash tonight because we can do this, that, and the other." And I'm like, I haven't thought about that since Boy Scouts.
Right, because every time we'd been camping and four-wheeling at the same time, it was at the Cove, and
It's loud.
people
and
are blasting music and revving engines till 3 a.m. No wildlife is coming around for miles because they're as terrified as we are.
Yeah, I went to go send a when I walked down to that rock creek bed to send that text message, and I'm like, shit, I'm like 200 yards away from everyone, and I'm completely vulnerable right now.
Yeah.
Just like I was like holding the GPS thing. What the hell was it?
InReach, the Garmin.
The Garmin InReach up.
Yeah.
Looking for service, and I'm like, I'm looking at this fucking piece of technology. I'm gonna get mauled by a bear.
Yeah, or a mountain lion or something. Yeah, by a cougar.
I wouldn't say no to that.
Heyo, not Ashburn, different kind of cougar.
Future Tim Duck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are probably people who put in a lot more thought and like have like favorite campsites and things like that, but it's I feel like it falls in our philosophy of most of the stuff we talk about. It doesn't have to be complicated.
No, just find something that
Make sure
works.
you got enough space. Make sure it's flat, and bonuses if it's cool shit.
Yeah,
If it's in a cool place.
it's got a beautiful view.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know if we have a lot to talk about on this topic.
Yeah.
But we can split this episode in half.
Yeah, I was gonna say we had a viewer question, right?
It's from the same viewer.
Okay.
I told him, it's a great question about the Pats.
Yeah. Yeah. that was from
And he's
last
like, oh shit, I got a different one then. Shout out to Tom and Max 2002 on Instagram.
week. It's really not our Tom and
It's
Max.
not our Tom and Max.
So
Completely
weird.
different guy.
Is Max his dog? Like, does that
Max.
Tom and Max 2002, if you're listening, if you could let us know if Max is your dog or not, because that would really
be wild.
This would be like a Rick and Morty thing, like it's Tom and Max from the future or from the past. Who knows?
He said, "Is it worth building the fuck out of a Dana 30 or doing a 44 swap?"
I think we have multiple episodes.
I think we do.
However, in what? I'm assuming a JK. Statistically speaking, it's probably a
JK. So what I did is with my build is budget wise for me, it was worth, because I never want to go bigger than a 35 period.
Yeah.
35 is my max. So it all depends on tire size.
Yeah.
For me,
Tire size and weight, but yeah.
If a 35 is your max,
Yep.
you can get away with building a 30.
Yes.
Truss, gussets, sleeves,
Yep.
Lockers,
Yep.
heavy duty gears, because do they make extra hardened gears, or is that a thing that I just made up in my head?
From a JK standpoint, most of the aftermarket stuff is heavy duty. Like if you go with a Revolution or a Yukon,
it's like heat treated and all that shit.
Like, I mean, it's a pretty heavy duty part regardless of its use. But as long as you're going good quality, like there's some cheap stuff out there that's just not going to last regardless of what you use it for. But
nuts to bolts, you're gonna, beginning to end, you're gonna end up spending about the same building out a 30 with chromos and everything else as putting a 44 in.
It depends. So this is why there's multiple episodes on it, because there's no right answer. If this is a JK, if it's a Dana 30 JK axle, yes, there are situations where it is worth it to spend the money to build out a 30.
Like for me in the 2-door, since it's...
Yes, 100%. That's actually a great example. So
I'm not going bigger than 35.
35s are under. no need for a front locker, and
I may do a front limited slip eventually,
Right.
maybe.
mild to light overlanding or rock trails. If you're sticking to greens and really easy blues and you're light on the throttle and you've got a well armored 30, you will survive.
Well, it's also easy to do because that's also a step process. Like
Yeah.
I've got it's a low mileage JK. It's got 60,000 miles on it. When I do my axle seals, I'll do sleeves because all you have to do is do a few spot welds, slide the sleeves in, spot weld it around,
Yeah.
and it's good to go.
Yeah.
And then next service, if I do ball joints, I'll
Yeah.
do trusses,
Yep.
or I'll do gussets because you shouldn't
Yeah.
weld
with
the ball joints in.
No, you should weld with the ball joints in, but you need to replace the ball joints after because it'll just burn up the ball joint.
Correct.
But
And then gussets or trusses are easy after that.
I'm not going to call them out yet because I still like them and I still like their products. But I did have a guy at a at a large name brand parts builder tell me that you don't need to remove ball joints to weld in gussets.
What?
Yeah, and I was like, what? He goes, yeah, if you got a problem, you can replace them, but I've never heard of anybody doing that. And I was like,
That sounds sketchy.
I'm pretty sure most people who make the gussets and the trusses
Tell you to
replace the ball joints. But anyway, I digress there. Yeah, I think I'll probably take heat from the rock crawling world for this, but there are use cases where dumping a money into a 30 is worth it.
Yeah. Especially because if you can do it as a build over time, like
Sure.
I plan on doing,
Yeah.
like
Is a 44 stronger and better? 100% of the time, yes. Is it necessary?
is it stronger and better? It's stronger. The gears are stronger. The housing is the same.
No, it's not.
Is the tube thickness
yes,
different?
if we're talking about JK specifically, yes.
The tube thickness is the same.
The tube thickness is the same. The outer C's are the same. The ball joints are the same. The knuckles are the same. The brakes are the same. The internal guts of
the pumpkin is different and the internal guts are
Right.
different. And that's it. It's literally just the pumpkin piece is different.
which still makes it better.
Yeah,
like the 44 is still a stronger axle, 100%.
because of the bigger ring gear.
Right. But a bone stock 44 versus a built 30, that built 30 will handle the abuse just fine as long as you...
Yeah, mild abuse.
Right. As long as you like for your use case.
Yeah.
If you're trying to build a badass rock crawler...
Would you put a locker? I wouldn't put a locker in a 30.
I think if you're going to go full e-locker, at that point, you might as well start with an empty 44.
Correct.
Or like, because like this is how I look at it. If you're doing the work yourself, right? If we don't include labor in this, because I don't know what his
I don't
his
know.
background
I didn't
is,
get much detail on
but
it.
assuming he can weld and set up gears on his own, you're for the front gears only, you're $400 for that gear set for bearings, seals, gears. You're $1,100 on the low end for an e-locker. You're $200 for a truss and gusset kit, and then another $200 for...
Assuming you're doing all your setup and you're welding yourself.
Correct. At that point, right, you are halfway to buying a fully built Dana Ultimate 44 that bolts into your Jeep.
Correct.
So, like, you know, if you can do all the work yourself, it's worth it to build it with the locker. If you're going to pay a shop, like for us to do it, I can put in a Dana 44 that's built with the gears you want and the locker pre-installed and bolted into your Jeep for less money than I can build out your 30.
Yeah.
So I think that's where a lot of
the thing that a lot of people that buy off-the-shelf 44s don't consider, especially if you're going with a Dana off-the-shelf 44, is same tube thickness, same ball joints. No, it's different.
The Ultimates are above.
Oh, okay.
factory.
So the Ultimate. Okay.
So like the Ultimates are not 5/16. No, it is 5/16. I think it's 5/16.
Yeah, because it's 1/4-inch tube for. No, it's
5/16 wall tube, 1/4-inch brackets.
Okay.
If I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
we're usually wrong. Sure. Fact check us.
But the benefit, like one of the reasons I love using the Dana Ultimate axles, it's all OE parts.
Yeah.
So if you're halfway across the country and your ball joints fail, it's off the shelf ball joints, and they give you a parts list with Dana part number, so you can
it's awesome.
Any parts house can cross reference that part number, and you can get a replacement ball joint for your axle. When you start looking at Dynatrack, TerraFlex,
you're using just that. You can only replace with just their parts,
right? There's things that may fit, but that's now you're relying on you or the shop to know what can be replaced and where Dana is literally OEM parts. They are an OEM supplier. If you have a 2012 JK and you put a Dana Ultimate 44 in it and you order brakes for a 2012 JK, they are going to fit your axle.
Yeah.
Wheel speed sensors the same, hubs the same, ball joints are the same. Literally everything's a factory part, just better.
Yeah.
Like there's higher versions of it, but it's an easy OE fitment. I think people sleep on building a stock axle versus replacing it because
non-locked 30, build the shit out if you don't plan on locking it.
Yeah.
If you plan on locking it, go to 44. Would you say that's a good cutoff?
No. The cutoff will always be tire size and use.
Okay, fair.
If you're
bigger than 35 and you're not locked,
if you're gonna build it out in stages like you were talking about, like for your project, if you're gonna go through and truss it and gusset it and sleeve it, and then over time, and then it comes time to like, okay, I need to rebuild my diffs, and because at the end of the day, chances are you're gonna rebuild both axles.
Yep.
Right. So now even if you're doing it yourself, you're spending probably close to $3,000, if not more, in parts, retail parts. You can buy that whole axle for $5,000. So like, at some point it does go, I'm spending a lot of money on something that I'm still limited on. Right? Like, even with all of that work done, you're still going to really be pushing your limits at a 37. Like, if you're babying it and you only ever drive the highway, that Dana 30 will handle a 37. But if you do start getting into harder trails, you're going to eat up your expensive parts at that point because your fusible link has become your ring and pinion.
Yeah.
And that does get expensive, which is why like there's always the limitation. If you want to spend the money and put a locker in it, that's fine. I personally wouldn't. If I'm going to spend $3,000, I'd wait and get something bigger.
Yeah. That's why I said that limited slip versus locker on the front end is that like with the 35, 37 limited slip versus locker is that breakover point for 44s for me.
Yeah. Yeah. At least from a cost standpoint. But again, if you're doing limited fire road, light wheeling, daily driving, and you're just looking to make your axle more reliable. Oh, I didn't include chromolys in that, so that price goes up higher because that's $1,100.
Yeah, I spent $600 on chromos.
So yeah. So maybe at that point, If you're gonna put an e-locker in a Dana 30, just buy the 44 and you're done.
That's what I said. That's my
I forgot axle shafts. I guess if you want a selectable locker, that's gonna be the break off point.
Yeah.
If you want to put money to it.
Cool.
Or 37s.
Send us more questions. We appreciate all you listeners. I know it was a short episode this week. We will be back next week with a little bit longer one, a lot longer one, hopefully. You guys know where to find us. DirtNerds Offroad, DirtNerds Motors, at the Dirt Drive, everywhere social, and DirtNerdsOffroad.com.
Like and subscribe.
All of our stuff. Like and subscribe. Share. Tell your friends. We are more than a year in, so, I mean, we're here to stay, so
yeah,
definitely.
We're converting the basement at this point, so like,
yeah, we're doing it. We're official.
Head first in the shallow end, baby. Here we go.
Shit, that hurts. All right, guys. Thank you for listening, and we will see you guys next week. Adios.
Are you enjoying this podcast? Do you want more ridiculousness from the Dirt Nerds? Check out DirtNerdsOffroad.com. It'll link to all of our social media, as well as our YouTube page, and you can pick up some sweet merch to help support the podcast and other adventures.